Hello everyone and welcome to this new Rollercoin video. As you may have already seen in the title, in this new chapter of the free-to-play tutorial we will talk about a topic that is perhaps a little uncomfortable but certainly important, namely what are the problems of Rollercoin. It will be a long video, so make yourself comfortable because unfortunately there will be many things to say. If you have missed some topic of interest to you, or if you have recently approached Rollercoin and want to learn the basics by following a logical path, I suggest you follow these tutorials in the order in which they are organized in playlists. If you don't know the game and it is not clear to you what we are talking about today, it is useless to continue watching the video. Go and watch the previous episodes and come back later. Finally, if you haven't registered on Rollercoin yet, you want to take advantage of a small initial bonus, and you want to support this channel to produce new videos, consider registering using the link in the description. It is absolutely not mandatory, but if you do it, it is something that costs you nothing, and for that I thank you. I want to start with an extremely important clarification that must be clear from the outset. I love Rollercoin. If it were otherwise, I would not have opened a YouTube channel dedicated exclusively to this game. Yes, however, you understood correctly, a game, this is what it is about, and I repeat it since the first video I posted. It's not a money-making scheme, certainly not fast. If you are among those who think they will become rich because they have invested, or rather have spent, because it really is not an investment, some money in this game, I seriously advise you to follow this video to the end. You may find some tips to open your eyes and understand what you are doing. Let's start right away with the first, most important negative side of the whole game. It would really be enough to solve this problem to greatly scale all the others. But there must be a will to really solve it, not just look for palliatives that solve nothing, but often only make the situation worse. Of course we are talking about network power. If you really haven't started playing today, it will be very clear to everyone what I mean. But just watch this excerpt from the first video I posted on the channel. During the week of Christmas 2022, the network power was 220 ETA hash. At the time I'm recording the video, it's the end of March 2023. This means that it has doubled after 3 months. To date, I would say that this will be the main reason why one day the spell will break. Such a growth rate is in fact not sustainable. Anyone who is able to apply a little basic mathematics can easily understand it. There will be no intervention similar to those implemented so far that can truly solve this problem. No need to increase block rewards. There is no need to invent a new and in fact useless token, RST. It is not necessary, indeed it is only harmful, to have one event after another following at a rapid pace, without giving the players a moment to rest. It was absolutely useless to recently change the rules for the merge, a disastrous intervention in my opinion which will actually lead to the end of the merge. Whoever wants to merge two miners with these prices again, apart from the whales? If ever in the future we want to remedy this situation, and I repeat we must really want it, not just pretend, it will be necessary to intervene drastically on the rules of the game by doing the only sensible thing, i.e. putting a stop to the whales and encouraging new players with real growth prospects. Which then also from a purely commercial point of view is the most logical thing, who brings new capital into the game. Certainly not the top players who only drain resources, but rather a new or medium-ranked player who wants to start a slow growth by putting money into the game to buy assets. Today with this growth rate of network power there is no hope of ever recovering one's capital again, unless the idea of favoring new players instead of whales, which bring no benefit, is seriously considered. A good start, but only a first move to which other much more incisive actions must follow, would be to eliminate the bonus for miners that are not housed on the racks. This thing is so obvious and repeated over and over that not doing it means deliberately wanting that things remain like this, and we can only take note. After all, in a recent post, the Rollercoin team was rather peremptory, read it by yourself, but here it says, these are the rules, whether you like them or not, get over it. The second not always pleasant aspect concerns the rules of the game. Lately it happens more and more often that they are distorted with very little or even zero notice. Or, as in the recent case of the merge, in the middle of an event where the merge was an essential aspect. In fact, many prizes for Season 7 primetime were represented by 4 miners of the same type, with the only obvious goal of collecting them all and merging at the end of the season. Changing the rules of the merge just 2 weeks before the end of the season was certainly an extraordinary combination, because otherwise one would suspect a not particularly nice move towards those who, like me for example, calculate the times to end the season on the exact day where it ends. The result now is that merging the miners would cost me 4 times as much, and consequently the miners at least for now will remain as they are. The next problem affects the game's internal currency, the RLT token, and can be summed up in one word, inflation. To be precise, RLT shouldn't even be defined as a token, as I don't think that it is based on any blockchain. It is simply a virtual currency that exists only on Rollercoin. Be careful not to think that its real value is $1. It's not like that. If you want to buy an RLT in the game you have to pay the equivalent of $1. But its real value is 0. Nothing. In fact, you won't be able to convert it back immediately afterwards into the original dollar, but you can only use it to buy assets within the game. If tomorrow Rollercoin decides to shut down its servers, your RLTs will be lost forever. Indeed, they never existed. I hope that the concept is clear to you to avoid disappointments. But this is not the only problem of RLT. The other aspect to consider is that being a non-token, in other words not having technically any collateral asset as guarantee, Rollercoin can produce them from nothing at will in an infinite number, so much that at any time they are distributed in rain through events and contests of various kinds. It is a topic that I have already anticipated in a previous video. Pay attention to this aspect, because even some eminent central banker in Europe has neglected it and then realized that something called inflation has come out of nowhere. I don't want to bore you with concepts that I have already anticipated. In this video I will just remind you that contests and lotteries will certainly make those 2 or 3 lucky winners happy, but at the same time they destroy the game economy. Keep that in mind. The next downside is the bugs. Like all websites, all applications, and in general all software, Rollercoin contains bugs. It's no secret. It cannot be otherwise. It is the normal condition of any software product. Microsoft Windows has bugs, Google has bugs. Your $1,200 iPhone is buggy, even though you probably don't know it because they cleverly don't tell you. And Rollercoin of course also has bugs. The most annoying of these is certainly the one that happens often, really too often when you finish a game and have the hash power refreshed. In these cases, the animation remains frozen or continues to repeat itself indefinitely without validating the victory. The only solution is to refresh your browser window, wait about a minute and play the game again, because you won't be able to before that. This event, which unfortunately is quite common, as well as being annoying, also busts the times for those who accurately calculate the playing slots. A second type of bugs is the one affecting mini-games. Here perhaps the most common is the one that occurs regularly in Limbo Riders. While you are playing, even if your technique is perfect and your driving is flawless, it often happens that the game does not drop enough coins to win the level within the time limit, or that the poles are placed in such a way as to block all the lanes at the same time. Often you will lose the game and you will have to repeat many games not because of your mistakes, but because the game doesn't allow you to win in any way. And this happens very frequently. Every 2 or 3 games there will be a bug. Other games have minor bugs too, but this one is truly the most frustrating. Then there are a whole series of errors that occur randomly, especially when there are seasons and events. In this case you could lose points or rewards as well as your time as in the previous cases. Unfortunately, as I told you, bugs are inevitable, there will always be. The good thing is that they can be corrected. If a developer is competent enough, sooner or later he will be able to fix the bugs. So we all have to be patient and trust that one day all these bugs will be permanently fixed. The next negative point concerns the frequent maintenance interventions. I know, they are necessary. It is normal that they exist and that we cannot do without them. The problem is that they are often scheduled with little or no notice, often, but let's say always, in the middle of timed events where many players apply their strategies precisely according to the timing. I am one of these people. I understand that Rollercoin now has players from all time zones, so doing maintenance at a time that suits me could cause problems for others. But it would already be a very nice thing if there were no interruptions at all during events. Furthermore, recently maintenance interventions have become increasingly frequent and of very, very long duration. On March 23rd, the site was offline for over 5 hours, and this is a serious problem for those who play actively. Hopefully this will improve in the future. I have already expressed my personal criticism quite clearly in the video dedicated to the task wall, which is in fact the next point. The task wall is a discriminatory tool for many players. In fact, there is someone who absolutely does not see it because he lives in an area where partner sites do not offer their services. Furthermore, I have personally experienced that rewards for tasks are often not received. This is what anyone can also read on various social networks. In my case, not once, not twice, but 100% of the times I completed a task I didn't receive the reward. Never. Not a single cent. Surveys also have their problems. I will be generous and give you optimistic percentages. 70 to 80% of the times you will be rejected even before starting. A good 15% of the times you will be rejected after the first few questions or even in the middle of the survey. This means that, if you are lucky, you will be able to get a reward less than 5% of the times you click on a survey. And we are talking about rewards of a few RLT cents. I find this functionality inefficient and unreliable. Certainly there is ample room for improvement. Now we come to the marketplace. I also talked about this in great detail in the dedicated episode, which I invite you to watch if you haven't yet. In that episode and others before it, I said quite explicitly that the marketplace had killed the game economy. Now, after only a couple of months, unfortunately, not only do I have to confirm, but as we have just seen, other aspects have also intervened to worsen further. The economy is out of control. And even in the marketplace it is now clear that what is absolutely normal on any exchange and more generally on all markets has occurred. The whales are the only ones doing business. Furthermore, it is evident even to the most inattentive that there is a large group of crafty people who exploit the marketplace to make extreme speculation, almost certainly using bots or even just scripts. Every now and then the Rollercoin team informs us that someone has been correctly banned, but I don't think I've ever seen evidence of this. However, I believe that clear rules are needed to make everyone understand how to move and what the limits are. Finally, even on the marketplace there are still some small bugs. Sometimes some RLTs mysteriously disappear, even if personally it seems to me more stable than at the beginning. In any case, I advise you to always do things calmly and carefully. We're almost done. I anticipated that it would be a long video. Now let's talk about the next problem, which is represented by the disproportionate amount of fake accounts. If we look at the statistics, Rollercoin tells us that there are now 3.5 million players. But how many of these do you think are real? I have a little suspicion. I just need to do a quick experiment. This miner was practically given away to all players last month as a gesture of support for the earthquake that unfortunately hit Turkey and Syria. It remained available for many days at a symbolic price of 1 cent if I remember correctly. The point is that any player had no reason not to buy it, even if only for very little altruistic reasons, with the hope of being able to speculate in the future. How many are there out there? 56,000, and consider they are all here, because this miner cannot be upgraded. Now we want to remain abundant, very abundant. Let's say that 1 in 10 players bought it, even if I believe that practically all active players bought it. And all those who are missing? My conclusion is simple. There are at least 3 million inactive or completely fake accounts on Rollercoins. I leave it up to each of you to draw your own conclusions. Before talking about the last negative aspect, I would like to point out that in this video I will not address the issue of withdrawals from one's wallet, which, reading on various social networks, seems to be a problem for more than one player. This is for the simple reason that, as you will know by now if you follow me, I have never mined any crypto other than RLT, and therefore I can never have withdrawn anything. I can't talk about something I don't know firsthand. When and if I happen to withdraw, I'll let you know my experience. For the moment, I have no reason to doubt that everything works perfectly. The last dark side of Rollercoin is represented by the number of what I call bag holders, or players who just want to cash out and run away. These are mostly people who have put money, some even a lot, into the platform and are slowly starting to realize that they will never see it back. Some of them make a last desperate attempt to sell their account on Reddit or other social networks, a behavior that is obviously forbidden and exposes them to the real risk of being permanently banned, so they will lose everything. After all, this condition is well known to anyone, especially to the Rollercoin team, who are certainly not naive people. This is the main reason why RLT tokens are not and will never be convertible into other cryptocurrencies, just as they will never be exchangeable on any exchange. Remember that they are created out of nothing. For the same reason, I strongly doubt that even on the marketplace one will ever be able to sell one's objects for any other cryptocurrency other than RLT. The day this happens will be the end of Rollercoin. The whales will drop all their assets in your face and only the last naive will remain in the game with the match in hand. I'm sorry if with this last consideration I may have ruined someone's day, but it's good that everyone is aware of the good things. And Rollercoin today is certainly my favorite online game ever, as well as the less nice ones. When you transfer real money on platforms like this, you have to be consciously responsible for what you do. My personal belief is that you won't make a single dollar, not within the next 3 or 4 years. You'll already be lucky if you manage to bring home the initial amount, but I doubt even that. Then I'll be happy to be wrong. No one sees the future. But if you want to avoid bad experiences, my suggestion is to also take Rollercoin for what it really is, that is a game. So my recommendation is, try to have fun. If you want to buy better assets to progress in the game, that's great. But if you want to make a real investment, study how the markets work. As always, thank you for watching. I hope you found this video helpful in some way. And see you soon for a new topic of this free-to-play Rollercoin tutorial. See you soon.